what people consider important also is a reflection of their state of consciousness.
In this video, Eckhart examines the spiritual powers that can accompany awakening and how they should be steered away from growing our egos.
And then it has often happened, and I personally know of people who had genuine abilities and then they couldn't produce them all the time. The ability came when it wanted to come, healing, for example. Well, all these things are at different levels. Functioning at a higher frequency is the one expression that I can relate to most, because this is another way of putting what this is all about. So we are learning to function at a higher frequency. There are many other expressions that have come to people, some of them who have gone very deeply. Perhaps a person who came up with function as a higher frequency maybe went deeply, and then this is the words that came. To somebody else who goes to the same deep place, different words may come, because words you use to describe an inner reality, a deeper reality, depends on the conditioning of your mind, so you will use different words. But also, what people consider important also is a reflection of their state of consciousness. Seeing auras is a wonderful thing. It's not the ultimate thing that will transform your consciousness. It can come as a byproduct of a certain development of consciousness. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It is not something to be sought as the ultimate thing to achieve, because even if you see auras, you're still in the same state of consciousness, which may be egoic. In fact, you may become so identified with your ability to see auras that your ego gets even bigger. As consciousness evolves, sometimes happens that certain abilities arise that are considered some almost miraculous. To some people they come, and to some people they come and then they go again. In India, those abilities that arise spontaneously as a byproduct of spiritual awakening, for example, to be able to telepathy, or to know what somebody is thinking, or to move things, to create telekinesis, or whatever, any of these things spontaneously very often are things that happen. And all the real teachers in India, they do not teach you to develop siddhis. They all point to the fact that siddhis, you should not give them too much importance when they do come, because then you lose track of what really matters, which is your state of consciousness. So all the great teachers have said, okay, siddhis are fine. They tend to come and go, and even if they stay, it's not the main thing. If you get drawn into that, you get lost, and you're no longer, the evolution is no longer proceeding. And in most cases, if you get drawn into some extraordinary ability, ego usually comes in, because it's something you identify with as an enhanced sense of self in your mind. And then it has often happened, and I personally know of people who had genuine abilities and then they couldn't produce them all the time. The ability came when it wanted to come. Healing, for example, healing through oils. I knew one or two people personally, when they went into the healing state, there was oil that manifested, fragrant oil in their hands, and they would put their hands on people, and often there would be a healing. And then they started to practice more, and then they began to realize, or they never said that they couldn't, the oil just didn't come all the time. Then they tried, there's no oil, and some, because they had an ego investment, it became their livelihood. And so what one of them did, I'm not mentioning the name, of course, what one of them did, as was told to me by his personal assistant, he put a rubber thing filled with oil under his armpit. The tube just went up to the edge, and then whenever he went like this, the oil would, putting pressure on his armpit, the oil would be squeezed out and would flow into his hands, and nobody would know it, because it ran down. There was a tube ended here, the sleeve ended there, and the oil would run down into his hands. And so because he had an ego involvement in it, he was both genuine and a fraud at the same time. It's not uncommon for people who attach great importance to these powers to become, they have both a genuine power, and when it leaves them, they are a fraud. So, but of course, that's their spiritual path, and at some point, who could say that this person cannot evolve beyond it if he realizes what he's doing? At some point, awareness may come in, and then he may well give up doing his healing. All these things, what these various terminologies, expressions, They come, on the one hand, they come from people whose state of consciousness values that particular thing, and then often they create that expression, say, this is the ultimate thing. And of course, the ultimate thing is the one that I can do. And there are teachers who can perform so-called miracles, and by relatively unevolved humans that can be mistaken for great enlightenment. But sometimes these abilities, like yogic abilities, there are people in India who can stop breathing for an hour or 2 or 3. They bury them in a box, a sealed box, and they emerge days later. And does it mean that they have gone beyond ego? Not necessarily. In fact, their ego may be very big while they're in the box, and especially when they come out of it and everybody goes. But if these things come as a byproduct of awakening, it's fine, but not giving them excessive importance. That's really the main thing.
Thank you so much for taking the time to watch our video today. We hope you found it informative and enjoyable. If you liked what you saw, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. By doing so, you'll be the first to know when we release new content. We love creating content that inspires and educates, and we want to reach as many people as possible. By liking and subscribing, you'll be helping us achieve that goal. So if you want to stay up to date with our latest videos and join our community, hit that subscribe button now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.